Are you looking for all the latest pro football news and content? Of course you are. Who doesn't love football? The question is, how do you get all the latest pro football news and content? There's so many different pro football podcasts on the internet. Which one do you choose? Which one is the right fit for you? Well, you go with the Across the Middle Show, one of the fastest growing football podcasts out right now. Over the past year, we've climbed the Spotify rankings and become a show you have to listen to if you're a football fan. Find out if the Ravens will go all the way with Odell Beckham Jr., find out if the Eagles did enough to make it back to the Super Bowl. You'll get all of our best stories for just $1 per month. All you have to do is sign up by clicking the link in the episode description box. So I'm John Kuzma, the host of the Across the Middle Show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We have another great show for you guys today. We're going to talk a little bit about Matthew Stafford. We're also going to talk about Jerry Jeudy. So let's start with the Stafford story first. So the Rams tried to trade Matthew Stafford. I know that's a little bit surprising that they're already thinking about trading Matthew Stafford, or they're already trying to trade Matthew Stafford. Seems like it went by too fast for the Rams if you step back and look at this situation. Because, remember, they traded Jared Goff, 2 first-round picks and a third-round pick to get Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford wins them a Super Bowl. You would think that the Rams would want to stick with Matthew Stafford a little bit longer, but apparently that's not the case. They wanted to trade him. They were willing to trade him. No team wanted to take on the $59 million cap hit that comes with Matthew Stafford. That's why they couldn't find any team to step up and trade for Matthew Stafford. Now, the Rams traded Jared Goff. They got out of that deal and moved forward. Then they got Matthew Stafford. So it's not too surprising that they want to trade Matthew Stafford. I just don't know if I agree with it. I think Matthew Stafford's still a really good player. I think the concern for the Rams is that he is banged up from all the years of playing quarterback in the National Football League. So they're a little nervous about all the injuries that he's had to, go throughout his career. And I think maybe that's why they want to get out of his contract and move forward. They also, like with Jared Goff, they like to get out of these contracts sooner rather than later. Almost like, Bill Belichick used to do with the Patriots, or I guess he still does with the Patriots. Really, it's about not being stuck in a bad deal. It's about, getting out of those contracts and trying to move forward. The Rams are in a bad situation cap-wise, so that's why they're weighing their options by thinking about, trading Matthew Stafford, by thinking about trading Aaron Donald if they struggle out of the gate this upcoming year. Tough decisions have to be made. The Rams are willing to do that if they have to. Now, obviously, if Matthew Stafford were to be traded, that means Stetson Bennett would be the next man up. He would probably be the guy for them. That's the direction things would, be heading in if Matthew Stafford did get traded. I think you can expect to see Stetson Bennett out there if a deal does end up happening. But it's a little bit shocking. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I think it's a bold decision to trade Matthew Stafford already. He won you guys a Super Bowl if you're the Rams. Did pretty well during his time there. I know he did get hurt this past year. He's had some injuries throughout his time going back to the Lions. Still, when he's healthy, that guy can sling it. There's no doubt about that. He can throw the ball all over the field. He can do a lot of things that most of these other quarterbacks in the league can't do. There's no doubt about that. Still, the Rams are thinking about moving forward. They're ready to turn the page. They don't want to be stuck in that contract anymore. They want to get some money off the books, get younger at, all the positions that they possibly can so they can gear up for another run at the Super Bowl and get this next run prepped and ready to go, because they think, the old regime, Matthew Stafford, even Aaron Donald at this point, they're ready to move on from those guys because they feel like they have to get younger, they have to reload, and they have to try again for another crack at a Super Bowl with the next regime that they bring in, whether that's Stetson Bennett, whoever they're going to be, or whoever they're going to have on the defensive line if they trade Aaron Donald. Remember, Jalen Ramsey's not there anymore. So they're ready just to start fresh and get a fresh start. Part of that, decision making is getting rid of Matthew Stafford, getting that money off the books, clearing some cap space because they're in cap hell. They have to, get some things sorted out as far as the salary cap goes. That's why they got rid of Jalen Ramsey. That's why they're thinking about trading Aaron Donald at the deadline if they get off to a slow start. That's why they attempted to trade Matthew Stafford. They're ready to clean house, get younger, and try to get a youth movement going with the team so that they can get a new nucleus, some new players to build around, and then try to take another crack at winning a Super Bowl. But in order to do that, they have to turn the page on this old regime, get some new faces in there, get some young players that they can build around, start preparing for what comes next. Otherwise, you don't even think about ever trading Aaron Donald, but Aaron Donald's getting older, Matthew Stafford's getting older, Jalen Ramsey, they shipped out to the Dolphins. They're making the tough decisions sooner rather than later. Sometimes that's a smart decision to make because you just cut your losses early, you lean into it, you free up some cap space, and then later on down the line, you have more money to work with in the future. Whether, it's the right decision or not in the short term, probably not. In the long term, it probably is. That's how these decisions have to be, looked at in the National Football League. You can't always think about this upcoming year. Are they going to win a Super Bowl this upcoming year? Jalen Ramsey isn't there. Sean McVay's a great coach. We know he can keep them in the hunt, but they're probably not going to win a Super Bowl. That's probably off the table for them. So they're thinking about just cleaning house, purging everybody that they can, getting as much assets back for Matthew Stafford, Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, loading up on draft picks, clearing cap space, and then trying to start fresh. That's what their mindset is. I don't know if you guys agree with it or not. I think Matthew Stafford can still play at a high level. I think it's a little quick to trade him. I think maybe there should be some more loyalty after he won them a Super Bowl. After he's done all that he has for them, he delivered. He won them a Super Bowl. Remember, he didn't have much to work with in that Super Bowl either. Odell Beckham Jr. got hurt. He was throwing to guys that he was basically pulling out of the stands. He had to dive deep into the depth chart at wide receiver, and he still won that Super Bowl for the Rams when Joe Burrow was throwing to all those superstars that he had. So great work by Matthew Stafford getting the job done. You have to applaud him for that. It's surprising that the Rams are trying to move on, but hey, that's life in the NFL sometimes. The other story we have is the Jerry Jeudy story. So Jerry Jeudy is looking really good in the offseason. He's really dialing up a little bit when it comes to his ability to perform. Great route runner, always been a great route runner going all the way back to Alabama. However, Jerry Jeudy has failed to live up to expectations up to this point. He's been a good player, but he hasn't been a great player. Averaging just three touchdowns a year. I think he's got 9 touchdowns throughout his career. Has yet to crack 1,000 yards. I hate to be a stats guy. I say that a lot, but it's true on this one. He's been a good player, not a great player. Just contributing a little bit here and there. The Broncos definitely expected more out of Jerry Jeudy. Well, he's finally starting to peak, and he's looking like the player that the Broncos were hoping to get when they drafted him out of Alabama. And remember, this guy was highly coveted coming out. Everybody wanted him. They all thought he was going to be a superstar from day one. Unfortunately for the Broncos, that hasn't been the case. However, Jerry Jeudy finally seems to be turning the corner and putting it all together, which means we have to watch out and see if he can be the guy that we thought he could be when he was coming out of college. Can he finally live up to his potential? Because he's got an insane amount of potential. It's all about whether or not he can put it all together or not. Well, it seems like he's getting closer to fulfilling that potential. His route running has always been smooth. That's always been what he hangs his hat on. He's always been very smooth in and out of his breaks, his whip routes, his ability to change direction, how he can sell going one way and then break off a route in the opposite direction. Those are the things he does well, and defenders tend to get lost. Well, he's doing a really, really good job with that now. If that was his strength then and he was just a good player, Well, as he gets closer to becoming a great player, he's getting better at route running, which has always been his strength. So the fact that he's getting even better at route running, it's really something to keep an eye on because the guy does look special when it comes to running routes. It's going to be hard to stay on his hip. He's going to get separation. That's just what he does. We'll see. Can he finally, put it all together and be the guy that is, really a 1B next to Courtland Sutton? I think Courtland Sutton's going to be the main receiver in this offense just based off the chemistry he has with Russell Wilson. Those two seem to be on the same page from the get-go. Jerry Jeudy has to be a 1B to Courtland Sutton's 1A. If he can do that, or if he can even surpass Courtland Sutton, obviously that would be the best case scenario for the Broncos because you always want your two receivers obviously they're on the same team and their teammates are working together, but you want them to push each other and raise the bar overall for all the wide receivers on the team. That's what the Broncos are hoping Jerry Jeudy does for them. That's what they're hoping he does for Russell Wilson because remember, Russell Wilson's success is dependent on Courtland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, the rest of the guys they have there. They have to perform at a high level in order for Russell Wilson to be able to perform at a high level. So that's where we're at with the Jerry Jeudy situation. Is he going to shake people from the get-go and put together his best season yet? Is he going to take it to another level and go from a good player to a great player? Is this his chance to kind of reinvent himself and be a true superstar in the National Football League? Those are the things that we need to see from Jerry Jeudy because he's always had the upside to make it happen. It just hasn't materialized yet in the National Football League. Remember, it's a big jump from the college to the pros. The competition's way more stiff in the National Football League. I know all you guys know that. You guys have followed football long enough if you're listening to this podcast. But at the same time, you expect someone with Jerry Jeudy's potential to be a little bit further along at this point. That hasn't been the case. We're just calling it like we see it. Maybe this is a year where he has that breakout year and really just kind of takes his game to the next level where he is one of the top wide receivers in the league. He's that quick player that he's very flashy, the route running, the ability to get separation, kind of Julian Edelman-esque, Remember how Julian Edelman did a lot of those same things? Jerry Jeudy can do a lot of the same things that Julian Edelman did. I think Julian Edelman got more out of his talent, where Jerry Jeudy has to get everything he can out of his talent like Julian Edelman did. If he does, he might be even more talented than Julian Edelman was, but it's up to him to get all 100% of his talent out of himself. Because Julian Edelman was able to do that, Jerry Jeudy hasn't been able to do that yet. That's what we're waiting for when it comes to the Broncos. So we'll see if it all comes together for Jerry Jeudy or not, if he can, help Russell Wilson take this offense to another level, if he can help Russell Wilson get back on track and get back to being one of the better quarterbacks in the National Football League, because so much of that franchise's success hinges on whether or not Russell Wilson can be the Russell Wilson that he once was, where he was in, the MVP talks. He hasn't been that up to this point with the Broncos. It's only been 1 year, but it hasn't been good enough for Russell Wilson. So a lot of that's going to come down to Courtland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, stepping up, getting it done for the Broncos, getting separation, getting behind the defense, creating some big plays, some quick scores for this offense. Because remember, the defense was good enough last year. It was the offense that didn't do a good enough job. We'll see if Russell Wilson and the fellas, Courtland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, can get it done this year or not. That's all I got for this latest episode of the Cross the Middle Show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm John Kuzma. I appreciate you guys listening. Sign up and become a member for $1 per month. It would be greatly appreciated. Support independent journalism. I'll keep all the pro football news and content coming if you guys sign up. And remember, it's only $12 per year. Thank you guys so much. Have a great night.